Hello students. Today we are going to discuss about the cathode ray oscilloscope, which is also known as CRO. So CRO finds a large number of applications in your practical labs. It CRO consists of an highly evacuated cathode ray tube. So this is your cathode ray tube. In this cathode ray tube, there are three main parts. The three main parts of the cathode ray tube are the electron gun, the deflecting system, and the screen, the fluorescent screen. So these are the main three constituents of the cathode ray tube. So this is the block diagram of the cathode ray tube. So what is happening in this cathode ray tube? There is a filament attached to the cylindrical cathode, and we supply a voltage of approximately 6 volt AC supply to the filament. As the current is passed through this filament, the filament will get heat up and the cathode will liberate the electrons. It liberates electron beams. There is a coating in the cathode which emits the electrons. So these electrons are emitted by the cathode. So as you can see here, this whole part, this whole system till here is the electron gun. So electron gun consists of the cathode, which is having the filament in it. Then it is having the control grid, and there are two cylindrical drums of the anode. So the constituents of the electron gun are the filament, which is in the cathode, the control grid, and the two anodes. The two anodes are the focusing anode and the accelerating anodes. So what is happening here? The filament gets heated up, the electron beam is liberated from the cathode, since there is a coating of the metal ions which can liberate electrons. So these electron beam is liberated out. So there is a cylindrical disc of the control grid. This control grid is placed at a negative potential, higher negative potential than the cathode. Why this negative potential of the control grid is there? Since electrons are negatively charged and the control grid is also having negatively charged, they are also placed at a negative potential. So when the electron beam will flow, then by increasing the value of the control grid, that is, if we increase the value of the negative voltage, we can limit the number of electrons. So it is in our hands that whether we want to increase the intensity of electron beam or we want to decrease the electron beam. So by increasing the voltage of the control grid, by increasing the negative voltage, we can increase or decrease. By increasing the negative voltage, the electron beam intensity will be reduced, because they will be repelled, they would not be allowed to further move on. So we can control the intensity of the electron beam by using the control grid voltage. Now there are two sets of anodes. The first anode is the focusing anode and the second anode is the accelerating anode. These anodes are placed at a positive potential. Let it be placed at 1200 positive volts, and here it is 2000 positive volts. So what happens? Since the electron beam is coming and anode is carrying a positive voltage, so the electrons will be attracted towards the anode. So the beam is channelized towards the anodes. So the first anode, that is the focusing anode, is used to collimate the beam of the electron beam. And when it passes through this, so when it goes to the second anode, that is the accelerating anode, this anode tries to gain its more kinetic energy, increase its kinetic energy, so that the electron beam could be accelerated, its motion, its velocity could be increased. So this is the work of the second accelerating anode, which makes the electron beam moves much more faster than it was coming from the cathode. So the velocity of the electron when it was liberated by the cathode is now much more when it is coming out of the accelerating anode. So here what happened, that the cathode has liberated the electrons. By the control grid, by the negative potential of the control grid, we can channelize how much intensity of the electron beam we want to focus it, or we want to strike on the fluorescent screen. So the two anodes, the two cylinders of the anodes are used to first focus, and second it is used for the acceleration of the electron beam. So when it passes through the anode, so till anode this is the constituent of the electron gun. So now the next constituent of the cathode ray tube is the deflection system. So the deflection system consists of two plates, that is the X plate and Y plates, and both the plates are placed perpendicular to each other. Since you can see here that they are placed up and down, so the electron beam is moving in the Y plate. If it is placed in the Y direction, it is made to move in the up and down direction. And here the X plates are placed vertically like this, so the electron beam would move left and right. So by changing the voltage of the X plate and Y plate, we can change the position of the electrons that is going to strike on the fluorescent screen. So this comprises of the deflection system, where we have two plates, two set of plates, X plate and Y plates, and both the plates are placed perpendicular to each other. So now when the electron beam crosses the two plates, so it depends upon us that how much voltage we are applying, whether we are applying voltage to the Y plate, or we are applying to the X plate, or we are applying both to the Y or X plate. So on that value the electron beam will strike the photographic plate. So next is the fluorescent screen. So as you can see here that the fluorescent screen is coated with graphite or phosphor from inside, and it has a graphite coating for such that the minimum scattering takes place. And when suppose we have not applied any of the voltage on the X plate and Y plate, so the electron beam will strike at the center of the fluorescent screen. This fluorescent screen is basically coated with the barium platinocyanide, which imparts it a green color. So there is a bright spot at the center. So every time you see the spot at the center of the CRO, we always say that we haven't applied any voltage to the X plate or Y plate. Okay, so we haven't applied any X plate or Y plate voltage, so the electron beam will strike exactly at the center of the fluorescent screen. So this was the cathode ray tube construction and working, that how the electron beam is created by the cathode, and how the electron gun is able to shoot the electrons and strike the fluorescent screen by using the electron gun, the deflection system and the fluorescent screen. So now here I have tried to show you what happened. So here the filament or the cathode is able to give out the electrons. So here electron beams are coming out of the electron gun and they are passing to the deflection plates. So supposingly if we have applied a negative voltage on the Y plates, we are not applying anything on the X plate. And X plate, you can see we have done it a grounded state. So when we applied a negative voltage to the Y plates, what happens? That the electron beam gets deflected to the negative Y axis. So we see a spot, a bright spot downwards. And when we apply a positive voltage to the Y plates, where we have not applied anything to the X plates, we are applying the positive voltage to Y, nothing is applied to the X plates. So what we see that the deflection of the electron beam is pointing in the upward direction, that the electron now gets deflected in the upward direction. So this is when we apply a negative DC voltage, we get a downward spot, and if we apply a positive DC voltage, we get a spot which is in the upper part of the fluorescent screen. So if we apply an AC voltage, since AC voltage is changing continuously with time and it's changing its magnitude as well as direction, so what we will see that there is a spot which is constantly moving up and down. Since here also you can see that the input signal is moving up and down, it is changing its magnitude as well as direction. Here it is having a positive value, here it is having a negative value. So when the plates will have a positive value, the spot will be upward. And as the value of the magnitude of the voltage is increasing or decreasing, the spot will move up and down. And when it goes to the negative voltage, the spot will move to the negative value. So since an AC voltage is an alternating current which is continuously moving up and down, changing its magnitude, changing its direction, so the spot will be rapidly moving up and down. So I hope that it is clear that when we apply a negative DC voltage, you see a spot in the downward direction. When you apply a positive voltage, you see a spot in the positive direction or the upward direction. And when you apply a AC voltage, you see that the spot is moving up and down rapidly. Okay, and when we do not apply any of the voltage, as here we have shown that we are not applying any voltage, neither on the Y plate, neither on the X plate. So the electron beam will strike exactly at the center of the fluorescent screen. So this is how the CRO is working. And if we apply, here we have discussed when we apply voltage at the Y plates. Now if we apply the voltage at the X plate, so what will happen, that the spot will move left and right. Instead of moving up and down, it will move left and right accordingly if we apply positive voltage to X plate or negative voltage to the X plate. So it will move right if it is applied positive voltage, it will move to the left if it is applied negative voltage. And also the X plate is also connected to the time circuit. So here, as we can see here, that if we apply the potential difference to the X plate, what type of graph we see that the spot will be moving left and right. So when it is applied, a positive voltage is applied, it starts increasing, then it starts decreasing, then again it increases, then decreases. So there is a linear sweep. So here it means that the bright spot is sweeping. When a positive potential is applied, the bright spot is sweeping linearly to the right. And when some more is applied, then again it comes back, and this line is called the flyback, that the bright spot linearly, rapidly flies back to the initial point from where it started, and then again it starts rising. So this is called the linear sweep, and this is called the flyback. And this is the graph of the potential difference applied to the x-axis versus the time, where time is taken in per second. So I think you are clear that when we apply the voltage to the y-axis, so the spot will move up and down, and when we apply the voltage to the x-axis, the spot will move left to right, and when we apply both, the spot will move up and down as well as it will move forward and backwards. So there would be a signal created. Okay, so I think that this whole explanation is clear to you, that how the cathode ray oscilloscope, which consists of mainly of the cathode ray tube, and how in this cathode ray tube electron beam is generated, which is used to focus the electron beam at the fluorescent screen. So the spot that you see at the fluorescent screen may be green, red and blue, that is the primary colors, depending upon the material which we have used to coat the fluorescent screen. Okay, so now we discuss more. Yes students, so this is the picture of your CRO model that you see in your labs. This is the fluorescent screen that you see in the CRO. This is the display card of the CRO. So the display card is just like the graph paper that you see in your notebooks. So here in this we have blocks here. So we treat that one block along the x-axis or one block along the y-axis is equivalent to 1 centimeter. And there are 5 divisions in one block. So 5 divisions is equal to 1 centimeter. So what will be 1 centimeter equal to 5 divisions? So 1 division will be equal to 1 centimeter upon 5, which is equal to 0.2 centimeter, or it will be equal to 2 millimeters. So this one division is equal to 2 millimeters. Either it is along the x-axis or it is along the y-axis. So if the wave is from here to here, we can see how many blocks are there or how many divisions are there. We can count accordingly on the CRO for our calculations. So here is the power button. We can switch on and switch off the CRO appliance. here are the intensity and the focus controller. We can move the knobs accordingly to see that the spot that is arriving at the center of the fluorescent screen. So we can adjust the intensity and the focus. So here is the channel 1 and channel 2. There are two channels, channel 1, channel 2. Here we can set the amplitude of the wave. Suppose we have this type of amplitude and we want to amplify or reduce the amplitude of the wave. Then we change the knobs, we adjust these knobs and we can amplify and reduce the amplitude. We can connect the wire or the BNC of the function generator to any of the channels, channel 1 or channel 2. So here we will get the wave, the desired wave, what we want to see in the CRO. So here is the invert buttons. So these invert buttons, what will they do? These invert buttons will flip the wave. What will be the invert buttons do? The invert button will flip the wave. So here is the invert button. This will flip the wave. So if the wave is showing in the positive half, when we invert the button, the wave will be flipped, that the positive will become negative and the negative will become positive. So by using the invert channel, invert button, we can flip the wave. So here, this is the time per division that is used to magnify the wave along the horizontal direction. That if we want to compress the wave, we want to increase the frequency, we want to decrease the frequency of the wave. So we adjust from the time per division block. So this sets the x-axis, and these are the uses for the y-axis. When we want to change the height of the wave, we choose this knob on the voltage per division, and when we want to changes in the x-axis or along the horizontal direction, we want to compress or expand, then we play with the time per division knob. So here is the AC, DC. Then if we put it on the AC, we will be able to see the AC wave. If we put the knob on the DC function, then we will be able to see the DC type of wave. So these are the buttons that we play. So this is the X position and Y position. If you want to lift the position, if you want to move the wave in the upward direction, so we play with this Y position knobs on both the channels, channel 1, channel 2. And if we want to move the whole wave from particular left hand side to right hand side, or we want to shift from right to left, then we use this X position knob. So in this way, we use these functions of the CRO, that is on the CRO apparatus, to get our desired wave. So you know that the CRO is a cathode ray oscilloscope which converts the electrical signals. What function generator is generating, that generator is used to transfer the signal, and the cathode ray signal just converts the electrical signals to a visual display. So the CRO is displaying what we want to see on a screen. So it is converting the electrical signals into visual display. If you are sending a DC signal, we shall be seeing a DC signal, DC wave, that is a straight line. If we want to visualize a AC signal, so we shall be seeing a AC wave. So this is clear, I think. So students, we had seen the various components of the CRO. So when we connect the function generator and apply the AC signal from the function generator to the CRO, we get a trace like this. So this is a sinusoidal wave. So when we get the sinusoidal wave on the CRO, we can calculate the voltage, frequency, time period from the wave. So let us now discuss how to calculate the voltage measurement, how to do the time measurement or frequency measurement. So from the function generator, we have got the sinusoidal wave. Using the X position and Y position, we can adjust the positions of the wave, and using the voltage amplifier and the time amplifier, we can adjust the wave. Either we want an amplified wave, we want a little less magnified wave, we want one number of waves, we want 10 waves on the screen. So that is upon us. So we can select the knobs and adjust the number of waves and the height of the amplitude of the wave accordingly. So supposingly we have this type of wave, as I have already discussed that this is one block. So this one block is what? This one block is 1 centimeter along x-axis as well as 1 centimeter along y-axis, and here they have 5 gradations. So 5 divisions equal to 1 centimeter and 1 division equal to 0.2 centimeter or 2 millimeters. Similarly, it is on the x-axis as well as on the y-axis. Now let us see how to do the voltage measurement. We have fed a voltage of, let it be 6 volts from the function generator. Okay, so we have to verify whether the 6 voltage is appearing on the CRO or not. It is coming as an output of 6 voltage or not. So we can check it using a CRO. So this is our wave. Now what we have to do, we have to calculate the number of divisions from peak to peak. So this is one peak, this is the lower peak. So we will count the number of divisions or the blocks. So this is 1 centimeter, 2 centimeter, 3 centimeter, 4 centimeter, 5 centimeter and 6 centimeter. So in the voltage calculation, we have to see how many divisions there are. If approximately it was like this, then we would have counted the smaller divisions also. That how many smaller divisions are there. Since they are complete 6 blocks, so it is 6 centimeter. So input voltage that we fed from the function generator is 6 volts. And we have measured that this peak to peak division is 6 centimeters. Then we see for the voltage we have to check the volt per division. Across which channel we had fit the BNC of the function generator to the CRO. That channel's voltage per division we shall check the knob and let the knob of the CRO be at 1 volts. And we have seen here that this is 6 centimeter divisions. So the output voltage will be the multiplication of the division and the multipliers. So 6 centimeter into 1 volt will be 6 volts. So accordingly, we can check the difference of the output volt and the input volt. We have taken the modulus. So 6 volt minus 6 volt will be 0. So whatever difference is coming, that difference can be seen. If supposingly this, the total peak to peak divisions is instead of 6 division, it is 12 division. It is magnified. If we magnify our voltage, we magnify the voltage per division knob, and our trace or the sinusoidal wave is amplified, that it covers now 12 blocks or 12 centimeter. Then we will see that the 12 centimeter wave will now be adjusted at the multiplier of 0.5 volts, such that when we multiply 12 and 0.5, we get again 6 volts. So by adjusting the knob of the multiplier, it doesn't make the change of 6 volt. The 6 volt will change only when we feed another input voltage from the function generator. When we change the input voltage from the function generator, only then the voltage on the CRO will be changed. By just moving the knobs of volt per division or time per division, it will not change the value of the input voltage. So accordingly, if I reduce the magnification from 6 blocks to 3 blocks, if I limit it, then I will see that the multiplier on the function on the CRO will be now 2 volts. So 3 into 2 is again 6 volts. So when I change the input value, when I will change the value to 10 volt, then only the peak to peak voltage will change and the multiplier will be accordingly set. So to change the input value of the voltage, we have to change the value of the voltage from the source, that is the function generator. So in this way, we can calculate the voltage measurements. We can take a trace on the tracing paper from the CRO, and you can include it in your practical notebooks also to verify what you have seen and what was your input figure. Okay. So for the voltage calculation, always remember that we have to take the measurements, the volt division measurements along the y-axis, not along the x-axis. For voltage, it is the amplitude value. We have to take the voltage measurement divisions along the x-axis. Now for the time measurement or the frequency measurement. So from the function generator, we shall give a sinusoidal wave of a particular frequency. Let us feed an input frequency of 100 hertz. So 100 hertz carrying frequency sinusoidal wave is being generated and it is fed to the CRO. So we can see a 1 kilohertz frequency of sine wave in the CRO. So by using the time per division knob, we can adjust the number of sinusoidal waves. For 1 kilohertz only, you can see one wave. For 1 kilohertz only, you can see two waves, and you can see 10, 20, or you can see half wave. So changing just the variation of the time per division knob, you can adjust the number of waves that you will see on the CRO display. So how to do the frequency measurement? Here what we have done in the voltage measurement, we took the divisions along the y-axis, that is from peak to peak. For the frequency measurement or the time variation measurement, we have to note the number of divisions along the x-axis or on the horizontal scale. So we take one complete wave. Supposing this wave is starting from here, so this wave goes to a crest, then again 0, then it goes to take a trough value, and then it again comes to 0. So from here the wave is starting and is completing one complete wave till here. So we have to take the measurement of complete waves. The number could be 1, 2, 10, but please measure the number of complete waves and the distance that a complete wave is taking. So this wave is starting from here, supposingly. So we calculate the distance from this block, and the wave is ending at this position. So we calculate the total number of blocks or the divisions from the starting to the end. So here you can count, this is 1 block, 2 block, 3 block, 4 block, 5 block, 6 block, 7 block, 8 block, 9 block, 10 block. So there are 10 blocks, or it is 10 centimeter. So one complete wave has come in how many divisions? It has come in 10 centimeter. Okay. So if there are smaller divisions, so you will take into account the smaller divisions also, where you know that one small division is equal to 0.2 centimeters. So since they are complete 10 blocks, so we write it as 10 centimeter, and we have taken number of waves as 1. We have doing the calculation of one wave. So in the input frequency we have 1 kilohertz. We have taken the measurement for one wave. The total number of divisions that this one complete wave is going is 10 centimeter, and we will see the multiplier on the time per division. For frequency measurement, time measurement, we take the value of the time per division knob value. So the multiplier on the CRO, that is time per division, is 0.1 milliseconds. So now what we do, we multiply these both two values. So 10 into 0.1 gives you the value of 1 millisecond. So this is what? This generates the time for one wave. So this is the time taken for one wave. For n waves, we have written this table. Since there is only n is 1 here, so this is the time taken for one wave. Okay. So if we want to calculate the time period, what is time period? Time period is nothing but time taken for waves divided by the number of waves. So time taken is time taken upon number of waves. So but here it was only one wave, so it is 1 millisecond upon 1, which is again 1 millisecond. And you know that the frequency is what? Frequency is 1 upon time period, which is in hertz. So the frequency will be 1 upon 1 millisecond, that will be 1000 hertz. So you get 1000 hertz. So the input frequency that you had given to the CRO was 1000 hertz, and the output frequency that you got is 1000 hertz. So taking the difference of the output frequency and input frequency, we could find the difference in the values of these frequencies that you are noting in the CRO. Similarly, we are not changing the input frequency, but now we have changed the multiplier. Since Now we have changed the multiplier. The number of waves will be changed. Supposingly now we get 5 waves. So for 5 waves we have 5 centimeters. The distance covered by 5 complete waves is 5 centimeter. So we see that then the multiplier on the CRO has been shifted from 0.1 to 1 millisecond. So when we multiply 5 and 1, we get 5 milliseconds. So we have calculated the time taken for 5 waves. So time taken for 1 wave, that is the time period, will be 5 milliseconds upon 5, which is 1 millisecond. And again the output frequency will be 1 by time period. So that is again 1 upon 1 millisecond, which is again 1000 hertz. So it doesn't matter whether we are changing the knob, the value of the output frequency will always be the same as the input frequency. The change will come in the fact that instead of 1 wave, you will get half wave, 10 waves, 20 waves. Okay, so CRO is not capable to change the value of the input value that you are feeding in the CRO. The multiplier is just amplifying the signal. It is either amplifying in a positive sense or a negative sense. Similarly, if we now have feed a lower frequency from a function generator, that is 500 hertz. So we see that we have now 2 complete waves on the CRO. So we take the distance traveled or distance covered in the CRO for 2 complete waves, let it be 2 centimeter. The multiplier on the CRO is found to be 2 milliseconds. So multiplying these 2 quantities, you get 4 milliseconds. So this is the time taken for 2 waves. Then we calculate the time period. So for time period, we divide the time by the number of waves, that is 2. So we get 2 milliseconds. So again the frequency will be what? That is 1 by time period. Time period was 2 milliseconds. So by 2 milliseconds you get the answer of 500 hertz. So in this way, varying the value of the input frequency from the function generator or from any source, you can check what is happening on the CRO, whether the output is coming same or not. So what was CRO? Basically CRO was just a device which converts the electrical signals into a visual display. So here you have seen that whatever electrical signal you are supplying, that electrical signal is being visualized in the CRO and the output remains the same. So if there is any fault, so there might be some errors in the cables or there is any defect elsewhere that has to be corrected. So in this way, you can verify the values of the input values of the voltage, frequency, time, and you can use your CRO for various other applications. You must be remembering that when you go in the hospitals, you see electrocardiogram. So electrocardiogram, what we see is also a CRO based application. So there also you are seeing the signals being converted into the visual display. So there are many other fields where you find the practical applications of the CRO. So I think that you must have understood the concept of CRO and how to use the CRO in your lab to initially calculate the voltage, frequency, and next we shall be calculating the phase difference. Okay friends, okay students, so we shall meet again. Thank you.